But the thing is, it's still early on. Yes, it's still early on in 2025.
The whole reason like I even started doing what I was doing is because I started from that exact spot. Like I started from literally zero. I've got the screenshots of my bank account with negative balances in it.
Good morning. It's gonna be an awesome day today, as today is day 4 of the journey to $5,000 in my agency. So I'm headed to get a workout in right now, but then today is the same as the other 3 days, sending a bunch of emails, doing a bunch of outreach, and then just cold talking to a ton of dealerships. At the end of the day, it's about volume, not luck. If you're in sales and you want to close more deals, then that means that you need more booked appointments, which means that you need more leads, which means that you need to drive more traffic. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about in this video, is how to drive traffic in multiple different forms. I'm going to tell you 4 different ways that you can drive traffic as a salesman. And then the last one is going to be my favorite reason and the one that I'm currently doing inside of my agency. So let's dive right into it. The way this list is going to go is it's going to start with more traditional kind of old school methods, and then it is going to transition to more new school methods. So the more traditional, the old school way of doing stuff is just flat out cold go to businesses or cold call the businesses. This is one of the just oldest forms of outreach. This is one of the oldest forms of driving traffic and getting people to book appointments, is just picking up the phone and calling people, or going to the business and dropping in and just cold going in and saying, what's up? So the main thing here is, if you put in a lot of reps with cold calls, you can get very good at cold calls. You have to do a lot of reps to get good, because it's not very easy. And it's actually, we'll put it this way. It is very easy to get down on yourself doing cold calls, because people just don't like their phone ringing if it's not someone that they don't immediately want calling them. If it's not a family or friend or just someone who they actually want to talk to, they don't want you calling their phone. And so a lot of the times you get on the phone, they meet you with a really bad attitude, unless you get really good at it and you have that skill of cold calling to where you're able to do that outreach and you're able to talk to people and you're able to basically talk them down, talk them off the ledge. Because when you are cold calling first starting off, a lot of times you don't even know what you're saying. So build yourself a script, so that way once you start doing a lot of these reps, a lot of these calls, you are going to use the same script, and that way you're saying the same thing to the same people, and that way you know where you need to make improvements or where you need to slightly tweak things. If you are just going into each call and you're just saying some random stuff each time, then you don't know if it's because you said something random. You don't know if it was because your tone. You don't really know what the reason that call didn't go well. But if you build yourself a script, if you say the same things every time, then you can make slight tweaks and slight adjustments in that script, and some things will work, some things won't. But unless you are saying the same things over and over and putting in those reps, you're not going to know what works versus what doesn't. So starting off, one of the most old school, most traditional things that you can do is just pick up the phone and call people, or go to the business and just drop in and visit them cold, straight off the rip. So let's move on to the next one. The next way is going to be doing cold emails. So again, this is going to be cold outreach, and the likelihood that the success rate of this is really, really high. It's just not going to happen. But the difference with a cold email is you can do a lot of volume, versus with cold calls, at the end of the day, you have to be like on the actual call. And so whether you're on the call for 30 seconds or 3 minutes, that takes time out of your day. Whereas if you have the right systems, or if you have the actual technology to be able to do it, you can send 1,000 emails in a matter of 5 seconds. So the ability to scale with cold email, you can send a lot of email. But the key with this is, the thing that really makes cold email work is the actual, not just blasting it out to everyone. Yes, you can have a template, but the more you personalize you make an email, the more you actually directly speak and talk to that one person, the better it's going to be. So the same thing as with cold calls, you have to do a lot of volume, you have to follow some sense of the same script, but you also have to understand that you have to do a lot of volume, you have to do a lot of outreach. And the difference with email versus cold call is people get emails all day long. And so if you get emails all day long, think about it. How many emails do you really look at? there's a lot of emails that nowadays that some people just blatantly, purely just don't even look at. And so if you don't even look at emails, there's a chance that sometimes your email just gets caught up with the mix and it doesn't even get looked at, which is why it's really important that you have a lot of different touch points with email. And it's not just about sending one email and then you're just like, oh, well, they didn't reach back. It's just like, no, you need to send a lot of emails out. It's not just about sending one, it's about sending multiple, and then not even just sending just the email just to send the email, but it's sending value in that email. Like just the email in itself, I want them to see the email and just be like, wow, that email was awesome. Like, I'm super happy I read that today. Like, I'm super pumped. Like, that helped me out a ton. I want them to think of me as a high value person. And anytime they get anything from me, I want them to understand and realize, wow, that's only a little bit of the information that I could give them. But the information that I am giving them is so valuable, it's so informative, it actually helps, and I'm not sending fluff. At the end of the day, I give no gimmicks, no fluff, and that's the key here. You personalize the email, you send a lot of the emails, and you do the work to make that email valuable to that one person. And now, moving on to the next one, we'll get a shift away from the cold stuff. So rather than cold calling and cold email, the next one is going to be a little bit different, but again, this scales very easily. The next thing that you can do is you can partner with businesses that are adjacent to what your product or service is. So for example, selling cars. And what I did was I partnered with 3 different groups. So there was a teachers group that I partnered with a bunch of different apartments, and then there was a couple different realtors that I partnered with. But the main key here is our target audience was the same. My ideal client, my ideal person was the same as each of these groups. So for example, the realtors. Yes, I wanted to actually speak to the people who are selling homes because that fit my client profile based off of the cars that I was selling. But another thing that was important to me was I wanted access to the database that those realtors had. So how many houses has that realtor sold? If they've sold 1,000 houses, they have 1,000 different people that they could be like, hey, if you need to buy a car, go see this person. And then let's say 400 of those people were like, okay, I'll buy a car. Like, you're booked out for more than a year. You're booked out for more than a year. That is the type of partnership that can be very successful if you understand what your client is and you understand exactly what that profile and that makeup is, so you know which businesses to go and partner with. So having an actual partnership with a teacher group, that is one that you can actually get inside the group, and then you just connect with everybody that's in that group. Like if there's 100 teachers in the school, you sell to one teacher and that teacher has an amazing experience and they recommend you to any new teacher that is going to buy a car that year. If there's 10 new people in that year that buy a car, that's 10 new car sales that you could have in that year. And if you had 10 new car sales added just because you sold one car to a teacher, do you think that would be very valuable on top of all this other stuff that you're doing? Right. The last, and I think the most important way to scale and get more traffic and more leads and more appointments as a salesman, especially in 2025, is going to be through social media. Social media, yes, is now starting to actually be a way that businesses and salesmen are starting to use and drive traffic and leads. But the thing is, it's still early on. Yes, it's still early on in 2025. Even if you haven't started making social media content yet, you can start today and it's not too late. People say, oh, it's too late. Oh, it's already past me. Oh, I can't make social media content. Like everyone's already too big. It's already past. No, that is not the case. Social media content, and the reason social media is so amazing is because the algorithms have gotten so good at delivering you content that you want to see. This goes right back to the same thing that rang true for all the other 3 methods. You have to know, 1, what you're going to say, and 2, you have to know what your ideal client actually makes up. You have to know what their profile is. You have to know what they like. You have to know what music they like. You have to know their interests. You have to know where they hang out. You have to know what other things they find funny. You have to know what kind of even cars that they like if you're selling cars or whatever it is for your product. Because there's 2 different ways that you can make content. You can make content that is going to educate someone, And you're going to inform your buyer. You're going to help your client understand your product. You're going to help your client understand the problem and that your product can be a solution. So this is helping to investigate, to show and shine light on the problem that they may have, which then gives you the ability to come in and be like, hey, here's the perfect solution to this problem, and it's this product. Or if you want to go in a more entertaining route, you can take the method of being entertaining content and you can reach a little bit more of the masses and then have a little bit slight tweak and then be a little bit targeted with your call to actions and then be able to speak to your ideal client through entertaining content. You reach out to the masses, and then for your call to actions, you speak directly to the person that you want to be talking to, and that is how you combo and make them work. Or you meet the marriage of the two in the middle, which is something that's called edutainment, which is you make entertaining content that is educational, or you just make educational content that's done in an entertaining way, is the two ways that you can say that. Interchangeable, I don't know, whichever one understands and makes sense to you is the one that I care about. So those are the 4 different ways that you can scale driving traffic to get more leads and more booked appointments. So the 4 methods: you've got cold calling, you've got cold dropping into businesses, you've got cold emails, and then you can partner with businesses and organizations. And ultimately, social media is probably going to be the absolute best bet if you want to scale up anything or any product or service that you have. In 2025, social media is definitely going to be that best access point because you have the access to millions and millions of people just with this device right here.
Hey man, good, how are you? Yeah, for sure. And like at the same time, I mean, like that's the whole reason like I even started doing what I was doing is because like I started from that exact spot. Like I started from literally zero. Like I've got the screenshots of, you know, my bank account with negative balances in it. So it's just like that whole like span and how all that stuff like comes together and works. It's just like, yeah, man, like it's right there. And this is the way to go about it. And so basically, nutritionists, dietitians, people that are like, go deep in the niche, go really deep and find those people essentially that are going to be big name people. They're going to have a decent amount of reach, or like they're going to have a decent amount of traction, but for some reason people don't know about them. There are a lot of those diamonds in there. They take a decent amount of work to go and find, and you know, it's a combination of searching through your explore page. It's a combination of just actually scrolling. It's a combination of searching certain terms and whatnot, and then looking through other people's following and like really going and doing the work. But dude, I'd say that would be the key, because essentially like this being the point being of just like, hey, if I were working for you guys, like I'm giving you a roadmap of like what I would do. That would be a big piece I'd start with, is basically like those 2 categories. Finding as many of those people as possible and doing the same kind of conversation. Like, hey, you know, we want to set something up, partner with you guys because we feel your target, you know, audience is exactly who fits into what we're looking for. Talk to all those people and then partner with other businesses that are adjacent to you. So what things that are, if there's any like gyms or any things that are in your area, or other sports teams and other clubs and other ways that you can essentially, if you guys have that built. Okay, quick inside view to some of the calls that I take inside of my agency with some of the different businesses and things like that. So that was a potential business. They'd reached out to me. They were looking for some help with some marketing stuff. And realistically, we were not a fit. And so I was actually just trying to give him some help and some things and tips and tricks that are going to help them out. Because essentially, if things start working for them, things start rolling, I'm going to be the first person that they call, because realistically right now, they don't have the cash flow to hire me in the month. And then once they do have the cash flow, if they use the tools and the tips and tricks that I just told them about, I'm going to be the first person they come running back to. So I thought that it was actually a really good call. He's actually a pretty cool guy. He's pretty laid back. So I hope that you guys enjoyed getting to hear some of those answers from me. I know you guys couldn't hear the full audio. I wanted to, you know, I didn't want to release things for, you know, him on his end, because again, they're not technically launched. They're not live. They've got a couple months before it comes out. It was a pretty good call. But kind of back to sending emails and back to getting some more things done, and I'll be able to get some videos finished up. But I'm gonna probably go eat dinner here. It's 5:40, so yeah, probably gonna go eat some dinner and then yeah, probably call it for a day and finish some edit some videos, and then we'll do the same thing again tomorrow, even though it's Saturday, because my days pretty much look a lot of the same. It's do something fun in the morning, work out, get the body moving, get the blood moving, and then get some work done throughout the middle part, the main chunk of the day. Kind of throw some breaks in there to keep the head screwed on and, you know, keep me from falling over. But yeah, like I said, let's log back in for some work, get after it. All right, recap on the end of the day, because I'm about to call it and head to bed, but it was a pretty good phone call. And again, you know, just the minute that any of that stuff starts working, I want to be the first person that they call. And so that one felt pretty good. And I'll stay updated with him. I'll probably check back in a few weeks just to kind of check back in, see how things are going. I also just started with a different salesman, just being able to collect a couple case studies. I'm going to start working with him for free. And then when things work with him, we'll roll out to the rest of the dealership. So I'm going to be working with a guy named Jordan. So it's kind of cool. Picked him up, and like I said, it's going to be a case study type thing. So this is going to be a free thing that I do for him, and we're going to basically start driving more leads and start driving traffic and show that it works. And then that way, once we show that it works, then we'll roll it out for the rest of the dealership, and then be able to take that whole dealership case study and then roll it out to multiple dealerships, because essentially that's the thing that I was looking for in this whole thing. I was needing to get my foot in the door somewhere, just so that way I can show and then be able to pull the data out and extract it. Because once you have the data, then it's just about just presenting the data in front of someone. If I'm able to get you 1,000 leads and I'm able to show you on paper that, hey, I can get you 1,000 leads and like this is how I can do it and this is what I did and like I've got past results, it makes it a lot easier to go in and talk to someone. As of right now, like, yes, I have data, but like I don't have the best data, versus like I want to go and get someone else's data for this new thing that I'm doing. And that is why I'm trying to find and get this so heavy. So it was good to get Jordan on board. So I'd sent him the training, and I'm going to check back in with him tomorrow and kind of get some other things going. And then I'm also going to start building some templates and things to send over to him, and then that way get him to start posting some stuff on a social, and then again start getting that traffic and those leads and those booked appointments increased, and then we'll roll it out for the rest of the dealership and we'll go from there. So like I said, pretty good day, and we'll do kind of the same tomorrow, again doing some more outreach stuff and just kind of doubling down and doing more and doing more and doing more is the name of the game, because again, it is about volume, not luck. So we'll see you in the morning.